Hello, and thank you for watching Guitar How-Tos. Here are some new parts. Gold knobs, dome knobs, and new gold control plate with the screws. So thank you to the supplier for including the screws. Thanks. Here is a completed modification for a 1969 Telecaster. Everything can be put back to its original condition, at least in the original condition when I received it, because it was heavily modified before my time. All right, so what do we got? This Les Paul switch, volume, tone. Now, this was the circumstance that I came across, and this is why I'm going to do this job again. When starting this project, this is what the original intent was: to have access to the volume knob and change that slanted slot pickup selector switch slot to a Les Paul style, to give myself more room in changing the pickups here, right? The pinky gets in here. The slotted ones don't work very well. I'll just say that. My apologies to the people who make those. It's a pretty good idea on paper, but the reality is it just doesn't work very well. The top of those, or the switch tip, still gets very close to the volume knob, and it still makes it difficult to get your pinky in here to change the pickups. So the straight one and the slotted ones, they're hard to get into. They're hard to get your finger in here if you want to change pickups kind of quick. So I think this Les Paul style one is for me going to be much more pragmatic, much faster, because sometimes I change pickups often. Okay, so the original intent was volume, tone, of course. This was to be a coil split for the neck pickup and a coil split for the bridge pickup. That didn't work out too well because once I got into the guitar, these Bill Lawrence pickups don't have enough lead wires to do a coil split. So a coil split's not possible. So what did I do next? Oh, by the way, this empty hole, what is now empty, was going to be an on and off switch. So again, new three-way, volume, coil split neck, coil split bridge, tone, and an on and off switch. Now, what did I what did I run into? I run into that these pickups cannot be split. So now it's decision time. Well, I made this into a phase switch, and then I made this the on and off switch. Okay, so now I have a blank hole here. So what I'm going to do is just do this project again. A couple of other things too. This space is great right here. This is fantastic. This is not too good. It's a little too tight. I probably would have, even if I could split the coils, I probably would do this job over again anyway, because it turns out that my pinky I can't do, comfortable volume swells here. So what I'm going to do is replace the control panel with a gold-plated one, which frankly I think looks really good with the tan body. And I also have the gold domed knobs, which I may or may not put on. It just depends on aesthetically how I think it's going to look once I get this finished up. Here are the mini toggle switches sitting on top of the holes of the original plate. And here they are sitting on top of the hole here in plate 3 and where a hole will likely be drilled. I think at this point I can eliminate number 5. I know that one doesn't work. So here we are. I'm not too concerned about smaller space here because, you know, the tone knob is, I'm right-handed, so I have a right-handed guitar, but I do it over here. With the volume knob, I'd like to have some space here just in case I want to do a volume swell right here. So if I use plate number 3, I think I have an easier solution than I expected. It's just a question of drilling a neighboring hole. Now before I go any further, I'd like to put a mark over here. I'm in the shadow here. I can't see it much myself. So that will give me some guidance, I hope. Okay, so we're in the middle here. I should be roughly in the middle over here. I'll check it before I drill it. Measure 9,000 times and drill once. And then I'll draw a straight line between the center of the holes. You know, what will be the hole over here. And mark it, punch it, and drill it. I rubbed this pencil back and forth here until it felt like it was about in the center. And then I took a straight edge and drew a line over here. Now, I've already put the switches on here off camera. So that's the spot where I want to put my drill bit. Again, going by sight, this looks like it's about halfway, as does the other one on the left. So once complete, I'm hoping that we're going to be right here. To drill the holes, I am using a very old Craftsman drill. And this has got to be probably 50 years old. Easily, maybe more. Now, I have some drawbacks with this equipment. I didn't want to buy a new drill press just to drill one hole. What is the issue with this drill? Well, the drum tends to just move out of place just as you put a little pressure on it. Once the tip of the drill bit gets some pressure, the drum tends to, although it doesn't feel like it now at all, but it tends to just, it tends to just go like this at the very last second, and then the holes are off. So it's very difficult to align these holes without the proper equipment. And I'm not saying that a new drill press would necessarily be the answer, although I think the new ones are probably better. They have laser on them and everything. The best way to do this is with a CNC machine, which of course is way out of the question. If you know somebody in the metal business that has a CNC machine, maybe they'll do you a favor and get the machine to drill accurate holes for you. But majority of us don't have that kind of equipment. So the very first thing I did was tape down a block of wood here onto the plate, and it's very tight. Now here comes the tricky part. I wrote down here the bit size I'm using, 7/32. Okay, so I have to reposition this plate, and I'll do that off camera. And I will take a magnifying glass and look at this carefully relative to the bit. So I want the bit to hit right on those cross marks. Now for the moment of truth. Looks good on this side. And I took a rat tail file and tried to align the hole a little bit, so hopefully the washers from the switch will cover that up. We'll see. This should be on and off. This should be split. Excellent. Excellent. Everything's operational. So now I tighten these down, align them just the way I want them, and put the knobs back on, and we're ready to rock. And here's the results. I can get in here. Beautiful. This gives me enough room for the switch. Got these good at a nice tiny angle. Great. And my tone. Everything's great. So another project on another day. So I hope this helps you out. I'll talk to you later.